Welcome back to the Texas Strangers. Let's move down Interstate 35. Are we east or west? East or west, because, we're in the Metroplex, so it's east or west. So when I leave the Metroplex, I go down 35 west. But I'm going to go down 35, since we're here in Dallas, in the heart of Dallas, we're going to go down 35E, keep on to where it connects to make it Interstate 35. We're going to go 2 hours down the road, not 4, which Austin's 4, and roughly Waco is 2 hours away. Wow. That was amazing what happened in Waco this week, wasn't it?
Is the amazing part that somebody finally stepped up and made some changes?
Well, I don't think that the step up was really part of it. It was like, oh my, we hired this Pepper Hamilton law firm out of Philadelphia to come in and look at our program and see what's going on. And I don't think just because it was originally they suspended the head coach, which means we're going to fire him eventually when we get around to it. But what Baylor was, in my opinion, what Baylor was trying to do was they were trying to push this as far away as they could to get it past this weekend, for they were not sitting in the hot seat. And they were trying to make this go away in a very slow way, in a slow manner.
So, in a nutshell, this is all about the cover-up and the non-acceptance of sexual assault cases when you're talking about athletes committing them at the University of Baylor.
Correct. Now, usually they say this is a lack of institutional control. That's the big word they like to throw, that the NCAA and lawyers and people that are well-minded, they don't have degrees in journalism. They have like lawyer degrees, and this is the words they like to use, the legal words of. You're not
much like student athlete and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you're not controlling your stuff. You're just living by the fly of your seat. Oh, I have money to go see this movie, so I'm going to go see this movie. That's what Baylor was doing.
What they're doing is they're saying as long as we can get away with this, as long as our program is successful, whatever that is costing the students and the people of Waco, that's okay by us, because look at our success on the field.
And I like to see a winning team. We all like to win. No one wants to be a loser. But needless to say, someone has to be a loser in the world. And you become a loser in life and in this world when you allow grown men. And I stretch that word, grown men that are growing into themselves, and they're having sexually assault on women. And the men, the coaches, the athletic director, the president of the university is doing nothing about it.
Deadspin did a story. It was by Tom Lay, and it actually went as far with some of the investigations to say that not only did they avoid as much as they could, but that they actually made it difficult and retaliated to some degree, and not physically, but discouraged women from reporting accusations and retaliated against at least the ones who did. It says some of the law firm's findings were that members of the Baylor football staff repeatedly and actively refused to report sexual assault allegations to proper administrations, and when they did happen, they were conducted in a broader culture and belief by many administrators that sexual violence doesn't happen here.
Well, needless to say, we're going to get into a lot of stuff that Baylor has kind of swept under the rug. This is not the first time that something happened like this at Baylor. This is not the first time that a football or a basketball program has come under fire.
I think that's fair. I mean, you could even just look at the history of Texas private schools.
It's always the private schools that really take it to another extreme.
I mean, we have
bubble.
I mean, we have the huge pay-to-play scandal from SMU,
right?
The Pony Express.
We've talked about it.
Then we have the cocaine thing at TCU not too long ago.
Yeah.
And what should be disheartening for football fans, and what?
But let's back up on the TCU thing and the cocaine.
Okay.
Gary Patterson, once he found out about it, he did a good job of shutting it down. Unlike what happened down south.
Right. There was people prosecuted, guys kicked off the team, all that stuff. But what's disheartening to me and what sucks about the truth about football, at least there's a correlation there,
right.
is that all these teams, when they're getting hit with all these things, it all happens under a time of success.
Right. I got to sell my soul to the devil in order to get something to get it done. But you don't have to sell your soul to the devil. You don't have to.
Well, and if there was a blanket statement that morality comes before talent, like if morality comes before talent and success, and we can't take these kids if they have criminal problems or this or
right.
that, if that's taken by the whole league, then it doesn't matter how good someone is, they won't play. But because teams are willing to do it, as long as they can succeed on the field, those players can succeed on the field, they're willing to look the other way. As long as that's the baseline for college athletics, this will be a continuing problem at universities across.
Right. Now, here's another issue that we have to see. These people are public figures. And when we live in the public eye, people are always looking at you, and you're under the microscope 24/7. And at some point, you have to say what's right and what's wrong. Ideally, this show was going to grow. It's going to take off, and we're going to explode, and maybe one day we'll be something else in the
We're
Texas
going to
Strangers.
Disney World, right?
Something else in Texas Strangers will probably be David and Ryan. Who knows what it's going to be? But to that point, if something was ever to happen between one of us in our outside life, where I sexually assaulted somebody or you sexually assault somebody, I'm gonna let you know I'm throwing you under the bus. And I hope the same thing, that you would do the same thing for me.
I don't hope you throw me under. I hope you throw me into it oncoming. It's here's the thing. They think that the athletic departments and the coaches, they think that they're doing these kids a favor by covering up this thing. They think look how talented he's going to the NFL. I got to protect his future. Well, what about the future of these victims, of these women who have been sexually assaulted by these players? Now, they may have to unenroll from school, depending on how the pressure is, or maybe they can't deal with seeing their accusers. Baylor's not that big of a school. It's
right.
a private school. It's a smaller enrollment.
It's a smaller enrollment because the enrollment costs way much more.
And if you knew these... I think the statistic is that a majority of sexual assaults are committed by someone you know.
Right.
So then you have to know that you have to factor in that they know these people, they interact with them in their lives. Sometimes they're their boyfriend, sometimes they're an acquaintance, someone that they know through the athletic department. Like in one case,
they're friends.
Right, they're friends. So these are people who are you're gonna see from day to day in your circle and in your life because they were a part of it. And now there's no protection for them. They're being chastised by all their friends, by all the people at the school because they want these athletes to stay on the team and protect them. So they either have to leave, uproot their lives and
right.
their future, their degree plan, because somebody else hurt them. How is that okay?
It's not okay. You don't step on the backs of others to get to a higher spot.
And even then, you can't protect those people. So, you know what I think would actually be a reasonable solution to all these problems? Now, obviously, these guys need to go through the due process of the justice system.
They need to go through the criminal system.
The criminal justice system.
That's right.
So
they need to have some iron
right,
bracelets
so
put on them.
This shouldn't just be like, oh well, that's boys being boys. This is she was drunk and
this is not 1970. It's not 1980. We're in 2016.
There's no excuse for sexual assault, none at all.
Exactly.
And so they do have to go through it, but I think that it should immediately, as soon as this news becomes news in the police department, it should immediately be shot out to the news regardless. This person should be made aware of what they've done, and the surrounding people who interact with this person on a day-to-day basis should know. They have the right to know as well because they are at risk now.
Right.
And I think if coaches did less to cover it up and more to, like you said, throw someone under the bus every time this happens. I'm not saying they abandon the kid and no longer involve his life. You can visit him in prison, and talk to him about turning his life around,
or sit him out a season. Sit him out. Take a scholarship away. Sit him out a season. Let him learn that hey, this conduct will not be.
I understand that argument, like sit him out, but I don't see that as a fit punishment because these aren't even getting to the point where this person is facing a trial.
Right. Well,
and they have to. And you're not going to sit out a season if you're doing 5 to 10.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So I think that if it's not reported, not only should the players be prosecuted, I think the coaching.
Let me clarify. I wasn't saying, "Hey, sit out season because you raped somebody."
Right.
Okay. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying if this player is showing some kind of ways where he's not following the team rules,
Ethical standards.
Yeah. If he's not following the rules, take a scholarship away. Because if you're not going to follow the rules, then you're not going to do anything about it. Well, hey, coach ain't going to do anything about this because why don't I just up my game up and I'll just go from breaking into stores to whatever's next on the criminal ranking system of the how you build your rap sheet.
And what's unfortunate is I don't think that the victims of this are getting enough sympathy. And you know,
Absolutely
everyone's talking about Art
none.
Briles. Everyone's talking about the stock of the recruiting class. You know, they've lost the number. They might lose the number 2 tight end. They've lost the number 9. Or they might lose the number 2 quarterback. They've lost the number 9 tight end. They might lose lost a 4-star running back. Like, that's what people are focusing on. Not that there are at least 5 women that we know about, you know,
Right.
that have been affected by different players at the University of Baylor.
And that's going to affect the relationship as they go on. You're 21. We'll give them 20 something, somewhere around there.
Right.
And that's going to affect
between
a
18
growing
and 25,
relationship.
right?
Yeah, that's going to affect a growing relationship. How are they going to turn around and trust a man? And here we are as sports guys. Oh man, we might lose this quarterback. We might lose this tight end. Oh, are these guys going to transfer now? What's going to happen with Art Briles? Is he going to get another job?
The saddest.
He's going to get another job.
That's the saddest fact of this whole thing. I don't know Art Briles' involvement or
Non-involvement.
or non-involvement in this whole thing. But what I will say is there's 2 ways to look at this. Either Art Briles was so disconnected from his team,
Which I don't believe.
that I don't either personally, but that he's so disconnected from his team that he didn't really know all of this was going on, and that also weighs on him.
Okay.
You know, that's something he should lose his job over and has to take ownership, because the team who he's promised these mothers and fathers, you know, in their recruiting picture, I'm going to take care of your son. I'm going to treat him like my own son. And
Typical sales pitch.
Right. Typical college player sales pitch. He tells them all these things, and then you just forget about them on the hours that they aren't performing for you on live television, paying you between $4 and $6 million annually.
Right.
You know? So it's either that or he knew, and at least...
And he has a different belief.
Right, and at the very least did nothing. Which, you know, what's that old saying? There's... All it takes for evil to succeed in this world is for good men to do nothing.
Exactly.
So...
Now, we have a quote from Art Briles, and it says, "I think we do a good job of nurturing and giving these guys a chance to get on their feet and the ground to start over." Briles said, "We're very non-judgmental." You have to have some judgmental in your life at some point.
There has to be...
If you're very non-judgmental, then every football player in the state of Texas should go to Baylor. If you're non-judgmental, right?
What he should have said is, we're very non-judgmental of your character, but we're going to be hypercritical of the way you play the game of football.
Exactly.
And I think the saddest part in all this is, like I said, I don't know Art Briles personally. I don't know his family. I can't speak to his character because I don't know him well enough.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to turn around in a year. He's going to wait for all this to die down. 1 year, 3 tops. He's going to wait for all this to die down, and he's going to get a job in a major football conference.
Quickly.
Very quick. He's probably now for next year's hiring season, once there's, you know, the whole next slew of coaches gets fired.
Right.
He's number 1 on everyone's list.
Now, I know that Art Briles' daughter, Kendall, is very, very upset about... Oh, no, her name's not Kendall. I forgot her name already. But she is on social media right now saying that her father would never do anything like this, and the media is just picking on her, and it's all so sad that my dad is under this fire. You know what? Your dad let this go on. So just get off social media. Delete your Twitter. Lose the password. Do something. Just take the medicine that you have to take and realize you learn from it. If you learn from it, as sports fans, we will forgive. We may not forget all the way, but we will forgive.
But should we?
No, we shouldn't. And
it's hard.